She appeared at the gates just after midnight, a ghost in the rain. Matted fur, hollow eyes, ribs pressing through skin like prison bars. But it wasn't hunger that brought her here. It was something far more desperate. The German shepherd collapsed against the shelter door, pawing weakly at the metal, her eyes fixed on something invisible in the darkness behind her. The night guard thought she'd come alone. He was wrong. When dawn broke, he would discover what she'd been trying to tell them all along, and why she had chosen to suffer in silence until her very last breath. The storm hit Millbrook County like a fist, through glass. Rain hammered the roof of the Cedar Grove Animal Shelter in sheets so thick the world beyond the windows dissolved into static. Inside, night guard Marcus Webb sat at his desk, nursing cold coffee and scrolling through security footage from earlier that evening. Nothing unusual. A stray cat, a blown trash can, the usual ghosts of a Tuesday night. Then, the camera at the front gate flickered. Marcus leaned forward, squinting at the monitor. At first, he thought it was debris, a shadow caught in the storm's teeth. But shadows don't move with purpose. Shadows don't limp. He grabbed his flashlight and raincoat, cursing under his breath as he stepped into the deluge. The cold hit him like a slap, rain driving sideways, turning the parking lot into a battlefield of puddles and wind. He swept the flashlight beam across the chain-link fence. And there she was. A German shepherd, medium-sized, maybe 50 pounds, though she should have been 70. Her coat, once likely golden and black, now hung in soaked tangles, clumped with mud and something darker, blood maybe. Her legs trembled beneath her, barely holding her upright. But it was her eyes that stopped Marcus cold. They weren't the vacant stare of a lost animal. They were pleading. She stood at the gate, not barking, not whining, just staring at him with an intensity that felt almost human. Her right paw lifted, then pressed against the metal. Once. Twice. 3 times. Deliberate. Purposeful. "Easy, girl," Marcus whispered, fumbling with the lock. "Easy now." The gate swung open, and the dog didn't rush in. She didn't jump or scramble for safety. Instead, she took one slow, agonizing step forward and collapsed. Marcus dropped to his knees, hands hovering over her, unsure where to touch without causing pain. Her breathing was shallow, ribs expanding and contracting like fragile bellows. He could see the scars now, old ones crisscrossing her legs, fresh wounds on her paws, raw and bleeding. She'd walked a long way, a very long way. But from where? And why here? He slid his arms beneath her, lifting gently. She weighed almost nothing. As he carried her inside, her head lolled against his chest, but her eyes stayed open, fixed on the door behind them. Watching. Waiting. "What is it, girl? What are you trying to tell me?" She whimpered, soft, broken, and then her eyes closed. Marcus laid her on a blanket in the intake room, cranking up the heat and grabbing towels. He worked quickly, drying her fur, checking her vitals. Pulse weak but steady. Temperature low, dehydrated, malnourished, but alive. He called Dr. Patel, the shelter's veterinarian, who answered on the 3rd ring with the groggy irritation of someone dragged from sleep. "Marcus, this better be..." "Doc, I need you here, now." Something in his voice must have registered because Dr. Patel didn't argue. 20 minutes. While he waited, Marcus sat beside the dog, watching her chest rise and fall. She was dreaming, legs twitching, soft growls rumbling in her throat. Not nightmares. Something else. Something urgent. He noticed the collar then, half hidden beneath matted fur, worn leather with a tarnished metal tag. He leaned closer, brushing the fur aside. The tag was volunteers poured in, shelter staff, local deputies, even a few civilians who'd heard the call on social media. Dr. Patel had stabilized Hope with another round of fluids and antibiotics, but the dog refused to rest. Every time someone approached her, she'd struggle to her feet, limping toward the door, barking that same haunting, desperate sound. "She's trying to lead us somewhere," Marcus told Sheriff Diane Reeves, a wiry woman in her 50s with eyes like flint. "I'm sure of it." Reeves crouched beside Hope, studying her. "You think there's someone out there? Another animal?" "Or animals," Dr. Patel interjected. "Plural. Look at her." She gestured to Hope's swollen teats, barely visible beneath the matted fur. "She's been nursing. Recently." The room went silent. "Puppies," Marcus whispered. Dr. Patel nodded grimly. "And if she walked for days to get here, they're still out there, alone." Reeves stood, jaw set. "Then we find them. Marcus, you're with me. Dr. Patel, keep her stable. Everyone else, grab a radio and a first aid kit. We move in 10. They started at the gate where Hope had appeared. The rain had stopped, leaving the world drenched and glistening, the air thick with the smell of wet earth. Marcus clipped a lead to Hope's collar, more for her safety than control, and let her guide them. She moved slowly, each step a visible effort, but her direction never wavered. She led them east, away from the main road, into the dense woods that bordered the shelter property. The forest swallowed them whole. Trees loomed like sentinels, their branches dripping with leftover rain. The ground was soft, treacherous, roots hidden beneath layers of leaves. Marcus kept his flashlight trained on Hope, watching as she navigated the terrain with the precision of someone retracing a familiar path. "She's been this way before," Reeves murmured. "Multiple times." Marcus nodded. The realization was sinking in now, heavy and cold. Hope hadn't stumbled onto the shelter by accident. She knew exactly where it was. She'd studied it, planned her route, and when her family, her puppies, needed help, she made the journey, no matter the cost. They walked for 2 hours. Hope faltered often, legs giving out, body trembling with exhaustion. Each time, Marcus would stop, offer her water, let her rest, but she never stayed down long. She'd lick his hand, quick, grateful, and then push herself back up, pressing forward. "How far could she have come?" asked one of the volunteers, a young woman named Casey. "Miles," Dr. Patel said quietly, monitoring Hope's breathing through a portable stethoscope. "At least 5, maybe more." "In her condition?" Casey's voice cracked. "How is she even alive?" No one answered. They found the first sign just after 9 a.m. Hope stopped abruptly, nose to the ground, a low whine building in her throat. Marcus knelt beside her, scanning the area. At first, he saw nothing, just more trees, more mud. Then his flashlight caught it. A scrap of fabric, blue, faded, half buried in the leaves. He picked it up, turning it over. It was part of a blanket, torn and filthy, but unmistakably human-made. "Someone was living out here," Reeves said, her voice tight. "Or hiding." Marcus felt his stomach twist. They pressed on, and the signs multiplied. More fabric scraps, a rusted food bowl, a chewed-up tennis ball, and then, finally, the smell. Smoke. Old smoke, days old, but distinct. Marcus's heart began to pound. They crested a small ridge, and the world opened up into a clearing. And there in the center were the ruins of a campsite. Tattered tarps strung between trees, now collapsed and soaked. A fire pit, long cold, surrounded by empty cans and bottles. And in the middle of it all, partially hidden beneath a fallen tarp, a crate. Hope lunged forward, nearly pulling Marcus off his feet. She reached the crate and began pawing at it, barking frantically, her entire body shaking. "Easy, girl," Marcus said, hands trembling, as he pulled the tarp aside. The crate was makeshift, wooden slats nailed together, gaps wide enough to see through, and inside, 3 puppies. Tiny, silent, huddled together in a heap. "Oh, God," Casey breathed. "Are they—" Marcus yanked the door open, reaching inside. His fingers found fur. Cold fur. He scooped up the first puppy, a little female, black and tan, and pressed his ear to her chest. "She's alive!" he shouted. "They're alive!" The clearing erupted into motion. Volunteers swarmed the crate, pulling out the other 2 puppies, both males, slightly larger but just as cold. Dr. Patel wrapped them in emergency blankets, checking vitals, administering heating packs. Emily covered her mouth, tears streaming. "Oh my God! Oh my God! Is she—" "She's alive," Marcus said. "And so are her puppies." Emily collapsed into a chair, sobbing. Between gasps, she told them everything. Hope had been her daughter Sarah's dog, a gift for her 5th birthday. They had been inseparable. But when Emily's ex-husband, Derek Hale, came back into their lives, everything fell apart. He was charming at first, promised he'd changed, but he hadn't. He was using again, stealing from me. And when I tried to leave, he took Hope, said she was his dog now, that if I called the cops, I'd never see her again. "Why didn't you report it?" Reeves asked. "I did," Emily cried, "but he disappeared, took Hope and vanished. I searched for months. I posted everywhere, called every shelter in the state, but no one had seen her. I thought—" her voice broke. "I thought he'd killed her." Marcus felt sick. He took her into the woods, left her there to die when she had puppies. Emily's face crumpled. "Oh, Hope, my sweet girl." The reunion happened 2 days later. Marcus insisted on it. He drove Emily to the shelter himself, watching as she stepped into the medical wing with trembling hands and a heart full of hope. Hope was lying in her bed, puppies nursing contentedly. She looked up at the sound of footsteps and froze. For a moment, nothing happened. Hope stared. Emily stared. The world held its breath. Then Hope stood. Slowly, carefully, she walked toward Emily. Each step deliberate, each breath measured. And when she reached her, when she was close enough to touch, she stopped. And she leaned her head against Emily's leg. Emily dropped to her knees, wrapping her arms around Hope, burying her face in the dog's fur. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I'm so sorry. I should have protected you. I should have—" Hope licked her face. Once, twice, 1,000 times. And in that moment, Marcus understood something profound. Hope hadn't just been surviving in those woods, she'd been waiting. Waiting for the moment she could bring her family to safety. Waiting to be found. Waiting to come home. Emily wanted to take Hope home immediately. It was understandable. She'd lost her beloved dog, searched for months, grieved. Now Hope was here, alive, and her heart was bursting with the need to bring her back, to make everything right. But Dr. Patel stopped her. "Hope's not ready," the vet said gently. "Physically, she's improving, but she's still weak. And emotionally—" Dr. Patel glanced toward the medical wing, where Hope was nursing her puppies. "She's not going to leave them. Not yet." Emily's face fell. "But they're weaned soon, right? I can take her then." "That's not what I mean." Dr. Patel led Emily to the observation window, where they could see Hope curd protectively around Scout, Maverick, and Ash. "Dogs bond with their litters, Emily. Especially mothers who fought as hard as Hope has. She's not going to let them go easily. Even if they're adopted, she'll grieve." "So what are you saying?" Emily's voice trembled. "I can't take her back?" "I'm saying that you have a choice to make. You can take Hope home, and she'll come with you, because she loves you. But you'll be separating her from her babies. Or," she paused, "you can take them all." Emily blinked. "All of them?" "All of them," Dr. Patel confirmed. "Hope and her 3 puppies. It's a big commitment, I know, but it's the only way Hope will truly heal." Emily looked through the window,
watching Hope groom her puppies with meticulous care. Tears streamed down her face. "What would Sarah think?" she whispered. Marcus, standing nearby, stepped forward. "I think Sarah would want her dog to be happy, and I think Hope would be happiest with you." Emily closed her eyes, weighing the impossible. Then she turned to Dr. Patel and nodded. "All of them," she said. "I'll take all of them." The adoption process took another week. Emily's apartment was too small, so she moved, found a rental house with a fenced backyard and enough space for a growing family. She bought beds, toys, food bowls, puppy-proofed every inch. Her daughter Sarah was beside herself with joy, drawing pictures of Hope and the puppies and taping them to every wall. Meanwhile, at the shelter, Hope began to relax. She ate more, played more, even started to wag her tail when Marcus entered the room. The puppies thrived, growing bigger and bolder than the day. Scout was already trying to climb out of the incubator. Maverick had discovered.
The judge sentenced Hale to 2 years in prison, followed by a lifetime ban on owning animals. As the sentence was read, Marcus felt a strange sense of closure. It wasn't satisfaction exactly. Justice, perhaps, or something close to it. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed Marcus, asking for comments. He kept it short. "Hope fought for her family," he said. "And today, we fought for her." That's all. That evening, Marcus drove to Emily's house. He hadn't told her about the trial, didn't want to bring back painful memories. But when he knocked on the door, she answered with a knowing smile. "I heard," she said. "Sheriff Reeves called." "I hope that's okay," Marcus said. "It's more than okay." Emily stepped aside, gesturing him in. "Come on. There's someone who wants to see you." Marcus stepped into the living room and stopped. Hope was lying on a plush dog bed, surrounded by her puppies. Scout was chewing on a rope toy. Maverick was asleep, snoring softly. Ash was wrestling with Hope's tail, growling in mock ferocity. And Hope herself looked happy. Her coat was glossy now, her eyes bright, her body healthy. She looked like a completely different dog. When she saw Marcus, her tail began to wag. She stood, walked over, and pressed her nose into his hand. Marcus knelt down, scratching behind her ears. "Hey, girl, look at you." Hope licked his face, and Marcus laughed. A real, genuine laugh that shook something loose in his chest. "She's been amazing," Emily said, sitting on the couch. "Sarah's been teaching her tricks. The puppies are terrors, but Hope keeps them in line. It's like she's finally at peace." Marcus looked at Hope, who was now lying down again, puppies clamoring over her. "She deserves it," Marcus said. "So do you," Emily said softly. "You saved her life, Marcus." "No, she saved theirs. I just opened a door. That's all any of us can do. Open doors and hope someone walks through." 6 months later, Cedar Grove Animal Shelter unveiled a new wing. It was funded entirely by donations from Hope's story, hundreds of thousands of dollars pouring in from around the world. The wing was state-of-the-art, heated kennels, medical facilities, a training area, even a small park for dogs to play in. Marcus stood in front of it on opening day, surrounded by staff, volunteers, and media. Emily and Sarah were there too, Hope and her puppies at their side. The puppies were 6 months old now, lanky, energetic, bursting with personality. Scout had been adopted by a firefighter, Maverick by a teacher. Ash, true to form, had stayed with Emily and Sarah, becoming Hope's constant companion. When the ribbon was cut, cheers erupted. Marcus stepped forward to speak, his voice carrying across the crowd. "Hope came to us on the worst night of her life. She was starving, injured, and alone. But she didn't come for herself. She came for her family. She walked miles through the cold and the rain, through pain and fear, because she believed we could help. And she was right."
He paused, looking at Hope. She sat calmly beside Sarah, her head held high. We talk a lot about heroes, about courage and sacrifice, but I think we forget that heroism isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's just a dog, refusing to quit, refusing to let her family die. Hope reminded us of that. She reminded us that love is stronger than fear, that family is worth fighting for, and that sometimes all someone needs is for us to open a door. The crowd applauded, and Marcus stepped back, eyes stinging. That night, after the crowds had left and the shelter was quiet, Marcus sat in the Hope Wing, watching the new residents settle in. A beagle mix, a senior husky, a litter of kittens. All of them saved, all of them given a second chance. His phone buzzed. A text from Emily. "Thank you for everything. Hope says hi.